Well, folks, time really does fly when you're at war. Day 600 of this crazy war. And today the IDF decided that it's time to flex the muscles a little bit. Let's dive in. Today, the Israeli Air Force conducted a precision strike on Sana's international airport in Yemen, destroying a Houthi-controlled Yemeni Airways passenger plane. However, the IDF confirms that the aircraft was used to transport Houthi operatives to Tehran for training in missile production and weapons development, operating under the guise of a civilian flight. Israeli intelligence has been tracking this plane for a long time, which typically docked in Jordan to avoid detection. Today, I guess the Houthis got a little bit overconfident, and this disguised passenger plane landed in Sana'a, creating a rare opportunity. Within 30 minutes of its arrival from Jordan, Israel scrambled fighter jets, supported by other aircraft, to execute a surgical strike while the plane was grounded. Defense Minister Israel Katz says that this was the Houthis' last operational airplane, following a May 6 strike that destroyed others as well as their entire international airport in Sana'a. Prime Minister Netanyahu confirmed the attack, stating, "Whoever harms us, we will harm them," emphasizing Iran's role as the Houthis' backer. The strike follows repeated Houthi missile attacks on Israel, including 2 intercepted yesterday. Katz warned the Yemen's port and strategic infrastructures will face further strikes, maintaining a naval and aerial blockade on all Houthi assets. Local Yemeni media report that the damage to the airport, which had reopened 11 days after a previous Israeli strike on its terminal and its runway. What a way to celebrate day number 600. Being that today marks 600 days since Hamas's October 7th attack, with 58 hostages still held in Gaza, protests swept across Israel. Tel Aviv, Shoham, Zichron Yaakov, Hadera, Jerusalem, all demanding their release. Demonstrators blocked Tel Aviv's Ayalon highway, painting hostages' home, government home on the road, calling for a deal and re-elections. In Tel Aviv, protesters formed a yellow hostage symbol in the Mediterranean Sea and released balloons at Hostage Square as a digital counter hit 600 days. Freed hostage Or Levy, held in Gaza for 491 days, wrote in Haaretz that every second in captivity is life-threatening. Not that we like Haaretz, quite the opposite, as Haaretz is the most liberal and anti-Israel pointless news outlet operating out of Israel. Elia Cohen, freed after 505 days, spoke in Los Angeles about being chained in tunnels, bathed only every few months, and scavenging for pita scraps. Hamas holds 57 hostages from October 7th, including 35 confirmed dead and 20 believed alive, plus 1 other captive. Concerns grow for 3 hostages' well-being, as per Israeli officials. In Jerusalem, protesters gathered near the Strategic Affairs Minister Ron Dermer's home, criticizing his negotiation efforts, which have freed only 1 hostage in over 100 days. Bereaved parents protested outside Knesset Speaker Amir Ohana's home, demanding a state inquiry into October 7th and new elections. Not easy. Not for the hostages or their families, nor the government, who is tasked with doing, as many seem to think, is impossible. So the IDF reports that its medical facility near the Druze village of Hadera in southern Syria has treated over 500 Syrians, primarily Druze, since its establishment several weeks ago. The forward mobile triage unit was set up amid IDF operations to secure the Golan Heights and create a forward security zone in southern Syria. The facility provides medical care to locals caught in regional conflicts, demonstrating Israel's commitment to humanitarian aid despite an ongoing multi-front operation in Gaza, Lebanon, and Yemen, although silently, as the world just won't report on anything good that Israel does. The IDF says that these efforts aim to protect Golan Heights residents while supporting the Syrian Druze community. Operations in Syria also include maintaining stability near the border, where tensions have prompted face-to-face meetings with Syrian officials, as reported today. The medical facility operates under challenging conditions, with IDF troops balancing security missions and humanitarian work. No specific details on the types of treatments provided were released, but the initiative is a window into Israel's broader strategy of combining defense with regional assistance, creating allies, assisting the weak and the oppressed, all while fighting a multi-front war. So is Israel about to strike Iran? A crazy New York Times leak from U.S. officials is claiming that Israel could strike Iran's nuclear facilities in less than 7 hours. But will they? Let's see. Apart from that, Iran's nuclear chief Mohammad Eslami announced that Tehran might permit U.S. inspectors from the UN's International Atomic Energy Agency to visit its nuclear sites if a deal is reached with Washington. It's a big if. The two nations are preparing for a sixth round of talks, with U.S. President Donald Trump predicting good news, even after Supreme Leader Khamenei basically said that he's not hopeful for these talks at all. Iran insists that its uranium enrichment, now at weapons-grade levels, is for civilian purposes, but it has obstructed inspectors and expanded its ballistic missile program, as per countless independent research reports. Eslami called enrichment a red line for Iran, comparing it to a power plant essential for Iran's nuclear industry. If we can't enrich, then it's a no-go for us. Essentially, that's what they're saying. We know how Israel and the U.S. feel about that. Are we just at the point where just about every major world power on the earth has Earth-destroying nukes ready at any point? Israeli officials reportedly believe that the U.S. would be forced to assist Israel if Iran retaliated. If Israel senses a true threat, or if these talks go sideways at any point, this is something to look out for. The Prime Minister's office dismissed the report as just fake news. Tensions are high after a reported heated call between Trump and Netanyahu over Iran's nuclear program, with Trump urging, Israel not to take any actions that could derail the talks. Iran's history of denying nuclear weapons ambitions contrasts with its officials' recent warnings about pursuing a nuclear bomb. Same as in the recent Mossad beeper operation, Israel won't wait to strike if it senses any threat to the country's security. But after October and all the intelligence failures that led up to it, not everyone is feeling so confident. An international conference on combating anti-Semitism began today at Yad Vashem in Jerusalem, attended by ministers, ambassadors, and special envoys from dozens of countries, alongside Jewish community leaders. Organized during Israel's year-long presidency of the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, the event started with a tour of the Holocaust Museum and a memorial ceremony. Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar addressed the delegates, stating that there's a new anti-Semitism that targets Israel through slander, delegitimization, and double standards. He referenced the murder of Israeli embassy staffers Yaron Lashinsky and Sarah Milgram in Washington just last week, killed in an anti-Semitic attack where the suspect shouted, "Free Palestine." Sa'ar warned that global anti-Semitism is very much rising, citing protests in Washington as evidence. The conference aims to develop strategies to counter hate, building on Israel's leadership in the Holocaust remembrance. Sa'ar emphasized Israel's strength as a Jewish state fighting its enemies, urging global cooperation to address anti-Semitism's growing threat. Israel is fighting a massive propaganda war, with literal billions of dollars poured in by Qatar and other world powers, similar to what the Soviets did back in World War II to slander Israel, to build an army of keyboard warriors who work day and night to fight Israel online. It's clear that Israel won't win the propaganda war anytime soon. All the videos and pictures coming out of Gaza gets all the more strange once you realize that Israel could literally just jam their Wi-Fi and cell signals in a second if they wanted to. So why don't they? Something to think about. We made it all the way to day 600. Israel making some serious moves to prepare for what could be a massive Iranian problem. We're praying that this is all over quickly because, man, this makes me appreciate life before all of this so much more. For JFeed.com, this has been Overnight Israel. Catch you next time.